Shavua Tov, can you hear me? Shavua Tov means a good week, and we can only hope that we will have a good week. Okay, so Shalom and Shavua Tov. My name is Denise Israel, and I'm part of the Cultural Committee of the Jewish Community of Sedona and the Verde Valley, and I'm very happy to introduce our wonderful musicians for tonight. The concert is dedicated to preserving and advancing Yiddish music, language, and culture. And we thank the whole cultural committee. Part of its members are not here tonight, Michael Shapiro and Eric Mendelson. We also thank them for bringing those amazing musicians to Sedona for us to enjoy and learn more about this unique Ashkenazi musical tradition. We thank Patty Ayers and Sybil Malinovsky for their generous contributions to making the evening possible. I would like to also mention Angelo Lamarco from Sedona Media Services, who is at the tech table in the back here, as well as our member Jenny Hurst, who is tirelessly making sure that everybody's mic functions, including this one. Also our Rabbi Alicia Magal is here tonight. And she, more than anyone else, understands how music brings us to a higher spiritual plateau. It engages all the emotions, and it brings us closer to the heavens when we can listen to music, and that is so wonderful. I'd like to mention that there are some others who grew up with klezmer music, myself included. My father played the percussions, and klezmer music was always part of our home and our music, and I remember him playing in the 50s and the 60s, the percussions on every bar mitzvah and every wedding I ever went to. And yeah, that is that. And now enough quelling about my dad. So without further ado, let me introduce our fantastic musicians. We have Jordan Wax. He is a multi-instrumentalist. He's a singer and composer and a traditional musician based in New Mexico, in Santa Fe. He performs traditional Yiddish songs and new compositions as a soloist, as well as Central Mexican traditions with Mariachi Sonidos del Monte and his own ensemble, Lania Piñón, and creates bilingual children's programming that helps families and infants establish a positive context around linguistic diversity and regionalism in partnership with the Santa Fe Public Libraries. Wow. His innovative compositions are rooted in its own deep diaspora communities and in 3 decades of friendships with elders who have imparted the subtleties of spoken secular Yiddish and the musical sensibilities of the professional klezmer, not as heirloom to be preserved, but as pathways to Yiddish continuity, vitality, and relevance. His debut album, The Heart Deciphers, released in January 25 by Borscht Beat, blends the sounds of klezmer and lotari ensembles from Moldova with rock aesthetics from the American Southwest. In late 2025, he followed the release with Pana Kozak and other Yiddish songs for kids, a collection of songs for children and families based on oral history work and collaboration with preschoolers that was recorded as part of the same cycle as The Heart Deciphers. And trust me, if there's still some out there, fight for them, because I already took one. So, Jake Shulman-Ment, the second gentleman here, he is a leading voice in contemporary klezmer, a violinist and composer who bridges centuries of tradition with bold, boundary-pushing performance. He currently tours and records internationally as a soloist and with Midwood Daniel Kahn and Abigail Reisman and many others. Known for his fierce improvisations and rich tone and unflinching virtuosity, Jake's performances move effortlessly from haunting laments to foot-stomping celebrations. He has appeared at venues and festivals around the world: Central Park Summer Stage, Skirball Center, Lincoln Center, Symphony Space, Rudolstadt, Budapest Palace of the Art, Kennedy Center, Library of Congress, Teatro Manzoni, Krakow Jewish Cultural Festival, and many more. He was featured in Zaba Bericic's full-length documentary film Soul Exodus and performed on screen in HBO's Succession and Martin Scorsese's The Irishman. He collected, studied, performed, and documented traditional music in Romania as a Fulbright scholar and has lived and traveled in Hungary and Greece learning traditional violin styles. Jake's debut solo album, Redele, A Wheel, Orient Music in 2012, was nominated for the German Record Critics Award, and he lives in Brooklyn. And so, without further ado, let me get those two gentlemen up to the stage, and again, Shavua Tov, Shalom, and enjoy the performance.
Check, check. Yes. Yes? No? There we go. Good.
All right. Thank you, Denise, for that lovely introduction, and thanks everybody for being here tonight. We're going to get started with some music. We're going to do a set of tunes that combines, like a lot of the music we play tonight, very old forms that have been passed down for many generations with new ideas and new creativity. I'm going to sing a song that I released on my new album called Macht, which means power, which is a song about how minority cultures and languages work in different empires, everywhere from the Soviet Empire in Vilna and to the American West and the empire here, and the way property and land changes hands and how that impacts people and their ability to express their culture. It says, the first verse in Yiddish says, Wemmens Welt, Wemmens Berg, wer stellt a Fuß auf Wemmens Erd? Whose world is it? Who do the mountains belong to? Who sets a foot on whose land? Wer hat das Wort auf Wemmens Sprach? Who gets to speak? In whose language do they get to speak in? Wer kriegt den Ort und wer kriegt die Macht? Who gets a seat at the table and who gets to call the shots? And we're going to start with a beautiful piece, a beautiful form that Jake is going to play called a doina, which is improvised. So this is never, it's a traditional form, but it's never been heard before. It's going to be the most fresh creativity. It's just for tonight, so. ins Welt, wem ins Berg, wer stellt auf Fuß, a wem ins Erd, wer hat das Wort, a wem in Sprach, wer bekommt den Ort und wer kriegt die Macht. Who gets a minute, who gets seconds, who gets hours, who gets our attention and who takes away our power, who do the bees sing and who gets the honey, who gets a donation and whose face is on the money. Tell me, wer für dem Sech und wer für dem Mefar, auf wo steht die Welt, wenn nicht auf Kapital, was wahre Kraft, durch 20 Tage, wer macht sich wahre Sache, und wer wird es kriegen, who mints the social currency, and who doles it out to us, who gets to take the wheel, and who gets thrown under the bus, who compensates us with a little monetary token for the future we'd have had if it weren't sold away and spoken for. Them in Sorge, them in Schmerzen, wird them ins Dissertatie und noch sehr Konzerten. Wer hat Zeit, sein mit zu verwandeln in etwas, was verdient, in dem mit was zu handeln. Wer ins Morgen nicht lebt, wer in mir sich herein, wer stellt uns unser Busche und verdient von unser Pein. Hebt uns die Busche, verkehrt für uns in Kram, who took away our language and who's living in our homes. Tell me, wer means wer means wer stellt auf Fuß, auf wer means wer hat das Wort, auf wer means Sprach, wer bekommt den Ort und wer kriegt die Macht. was kommt denn noch? Und wer kriegt die Macht? Rai, 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 rai. Ja, rai, rai. Ja, rai, rai, rai. Ja, rai, rai, rai. Ja, rai, rai, rai. Rai, rai, rai. Ja, rai, rai, rai. Ja, rai, rai, rai. Ja, rai, rai, rai. Rai, rai, rai. Rai, 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 rai. Rai, 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 rai. Ja, rai, 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 rai. Rai, 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 rai. Ay, rai, 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 ya. Ay, rai, rai, rai,
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a beautiful original song from Jordan Wax. So we're going to do another kind of suite of melodies. We like stringing things together. Yeah. And the first one is an original piece of mine. These are all three different nigunim, kind of spiritually based melodies that generally have no words and can be used in synagogue, but also at home, often sung on Shabbos or Shabbat, but sung on many different holidays and festivals. It's kind of comes out of a Hasidic tradition of using music to bring our souls, to elevate our souls and our spirits and our hearts, and to speak to the Almighty. But these three melodies kind of come from such disparate times and places. The first is original of mine. The second one I learned from a friend, good friend of ours, Joshua Letsky, who's a neighbor of mine in Brooklyn, New York. And he taught me this melody. He's a wonderful folk singer, Yiddish folk singer, and songwriter, composer. And he grew up singing nigunim and Yiddish folk songs, all kinds of singing in his household. But this nign is also pretty well known in the Chabad Lubavitch circles. And the third one came from an early Soviet Jewish ethnomusicologist, Moshe Beregovsky, who was doing expeditions collecting all kinds of music in shtetls and villages and cities in Ukraine in the 1930s. But so I think you'll hear how these melodies just somehow really speak to each other, despite coming from basically a range of an entire century across continents, and coming from completely different places and times and eras. And okay, here we go. Thanks so much. Thank you.
All right, those are an original tune by Jake and beautiful traditional music on the album he brought out there. We're gonna do, this next one features a song that I wrote and recorded, and luckily Jake was in town a couple years ago, came to New Mexico. He had a gig in El Paso and drove up I-25 to Albuquerque when I was recording this album, and so got to have him play on this tune, which was a real treat, and now we get to do it live. It's a tune, the melody comes from a traditional song in Romania, and I wrote original words to it, kind of about being a traditional musician in this generation in the social media era, carrying forward these traditions. A lot of the elders I've worked with have said, keep this going, you know, but they never said how. And each generation, it's I think it's probably always been hard to figure out how to situate a tradition in a new context. I don't know if it's true that we've had more change in this last generation or less. I like to think we have, and that's an excuse why it's so hard, but maybe it's always been this way. I don't know. So anyway, thinking of how each generation moves forward with the music, and in the social media era, there was a moment about, you know, during the pandemic where that became such a focus for how music was shared and this tradition was shared, at least for those times when we were all sequestered in our houses. And music was being presented alongside announcing wars or famines or, you know, major protests. And it felt like such a confusing thing to navigate. And kind of like what Jake was saying, these nigunim, these kind of spiritually oriented melodies that are such a part of the tradition. It's a really interesting tradition of the music having direction and wisdom in it. So this song kind of uses that as a theme. It's called Zingen Dikkerheit, which means singing as you go. So it's even if you have no idea, you feel like you're in the dark, it may be that the nigen that you're singing, the little melody you're singing, yai dai dai, as you go, has more wisdom and more light than you do to show you the way forward, even if words can't really describe that in any way. So we're going to do that tune and start with, well, it's going to be bookended with other tunes from Romania. Yeah, so you'll hear those. watch the branches flying past. This trip may well be your last. What good will come of wondering if you're wrong? La-da-dee-da-da. Any songs you've left unsung will be abandoned in your lungs. So lift those accusations up into a song. There always will be later to take back what you've said. Anyway, someone would do the job as soon as you are dead. So I live without what you can steal. There's more to this than how you feel. Yada 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 dee da. Heus halt schön eng und wird schön nach. Euch war kein Nieden nicht gedacht. Die gute Zeiten sind schon vorbei. Ergens wo geschrieben steht, das tummele Leben und Schweigen nicht hält, damit ein Nicken, hi, die Lila, ist noch Amor. Die Rot zu geben mal drei, der ruhig fahr was mir tun a see. Doch Chappereien gibt sicher nehm, fa wenn man ist das angenehm. Ah ja, jedi, jadi, di, da. Lass sich wirren still, wie ein blinde Ranazi. Und ein freilich Ponem so ein Beiser spielt, weil die Rie verfehlt und die Licht vergeht. Aber ihre haben mich denn nicht zuvor Blinderheit. Mit Sennes in der Finster, sei wie sei, der einzige Mittel, was wird uns angetan, ist der Zuziehkeich von alles, was ist uns teil. Und die anderen Kunsten werden Tecken auf dem Feuer, der Fahrer ist ein Liedl, faktisch gedei, ha, abwa, Kolding mit der Nicken, ha, ja, ha. Lass sich fügen, gich geschwind, wir schlittele in Wald, mein Kind, weiter mit der Leier, die Ladei. Wer darf wegen und wer darf Licht, a weg macht man allein für sich, singen Dickerheit mit der Leier, die Ladei. Hasei Geschmack, die kalte, frische Luft, die Tag und Paar, der freie Begageur, a Tropfen Wasser in dem Teich, bis heimlos sitzt mit alle gleich, ja da, ja di, la. So hold on tight and don't let go, the runner slicing through the snow will sing to you a lively little song. Don't bother trying to tune it out. Who died and made you so devout? You might as well just go ahead and sing along. This is the only counsel that you will ever give. Sooner or later, you'll wear yourself out and submit. We don't have time to make a fuss. You're homeless now like all of us. Yada, 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 dee, la.
Thank you. Okay. I'm going to sing a very, one of my favorite Yiddish folk songs. This was the title song for my first album that I produced when I was 24, I guess. I guess I've been thinking about this song for a very long time. A redel is die gore Welt. The world is a wheel, and time is caught up in the wheel. Honor, wealth, luck, all just roll along with the wheel. One person might live their whole life poor, the next rich, and in the blink of an eye, it can change. So don't be too proud when times are good, and don't despair when times are bad, because it's all connected to the wheel. And there's a seed that lies deep underneath the ground. A time comes when it becomes a flower, and everyone marvels at its beauty. And then a time comes when it withers, and it's cast out the door. A redel is.
We're in the wrong key. Oh, I'm in the wrong key. Thank you.
A redel is die gore Welt, gekatschet ist die Zeit. Glück und Unglück, Covid und Geld, katschen sich nur bei der Seite. Einer lebt auf so arm sein Welt, der andere lebt so breit. In ein Augenblick wird das verkehrt, das Rädle hat sich übergedreht. Stolzier nicht, Bruder, mit der guten Zeit, bei der schlechter Fall nicht herab. Glück von Unglück ist gar nicht weit, mit dem Rädelen beit sich das ab. Tu nur a guck auf jeder Sach und nimm a Primär von See. Wirst du erkennen von Arm bis Reich, sie ist nur gewähnt in einem Dreh. Dort liegt a Serne verspreit in Feld, sie liegt ganz tief in der Erd. Es kommt die Zeit, wenn sie geht auf der Welt, seht jeder ihr teuren Wert. Die Rose blüht euch so schön, jeder spiegelt sich in ihr. Nur kommt die Zeit, wenn sie wird an ihr Chen, warft man sie raus bei der Tier. a redele is die gore Welt, gekatschet is die Zeit. Glück und Unglück, Covid und Geld, katschen sich nur bei der Zeit. Einer lebt ab a so Jahren sein Welt, der andere lebt a so breit. In ein Augenblick wird das verkehrt, das Rädle hat sich übergedreht. Thank you so much.
The next song we're going to do is a lullaby. Those recordings I was mentioning that Jake and I worked on together ended up being 2 albums of original Yiddish songs, one for grown-ups and one for kids. The one for kids was worked on also with, kind of developed with preschoolers, so it has a lot of games and things that show the kids how to participate and roaring like animals or running around and stuff like that. And the grown-up music is for listening, which kids are very bad at, it turns out. They're good at, but not for long periods of time. So one of the songs that was special to me because it bridges the 2 of those things is this lullaby, because oftentimes lullabies are actually songs for adults. The kids can't understand what's going on. And this is a lullaby that says, "Ay lulu," but then in the verses it kind of brings up riddles and kind of myths like old Yiddish folk songs often do that talk about the vulnerability of a new life coming into the world, and in particular the systems that we've left for those lives to inherit and to grow up in, which aren't always the safest place for a new life. So this is called In Weite Berg, in the faraway mountains. In weite Berg, wo den keine Eisenbahnen, rein in a Land, wo sie nicht fahren, wo steht in a Lied, wo's mod kein Mul nicht gesungen, Luft, was ist nicht durch die Lungen, was heißt vergessen, was hat kein Schumleben nicht gehabt, und was kann schweigen wie stehen und sag, was sie darf schaffen. Von der Chole mini mei ich war, wenn min bleibt ewig wach, wo steht der Mensch los die nicht ans Laufen bei Nacht. Schloge weiter, kleinen Kind, und morgen wirst du stehen, Gorenei. Derweile los sich führen beschor, mit den langen süßen Chol. Draußen geht der Regen am Mechaie. Derweile los ich führen wir schon mit den langen süßen Cholle. In draußen geht der Regen am Mechaie. In weite Berg, wo es wachsen gretisch Formen, lebt der Fuchs, was nicht kein mir folgen essen Schulden, Baseyen folks nor in the faraway mountains where the red mushroom grows. There lives a little fox whose name nobody knows. With 5 little kids, may no evil I behold them, will be joining them this Saturday for supper in their den. What is it to forget a thing you can't remember well? To unbraid the recollected from the stories that we tell. Once upon a time, a beast in garments of a man found a sack of evil seeds, and so our little tale began. Go back to sleep now, little one, before the roosters wake you with their calling. For now just float along the stream of this long and gentle dream, while in the desert such a quiet rain is falling. Just like the little fox in his den tried to fall back to sleep again, while in the desert such a quiet rain is falling.
All right, I'm gonna go over to my little altar of fiddles over here.
Don't worry, it's not going to be sacrificed. Yeah. We don't do that here. Not for a long time.
Yeah, that ended a while ago. This is I did a little bit of surgery. This is Jordan's fiddle. He also plays fiddle, but yeah, I did a little surgery on this one, just with a kitchen knife, just really. Yeah.
We sterilized it first.
Yeah. So this is a special tuning that actually originates in Turkish violin playing tradition. That is was a very common old marker of a Jewish klezmer fiddler in Eastern Europe, across Eastern Europe, but especially in Romania. Very often they played in this tuning, and mainly the Jews were the ones that did that. Traveled up through trade routes from the Ottoman Empire into Romania and into the Russian Empire, and it's called Space Throughness, 2 strings, which is the title of my recent album that I just released. That's out here, along with Jordan's wonderful albums and books. And I gave it away. Here we go. Yeah. Thank you so much. Zwei strunes. It'll be back in a sec.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we're going to do a suite of chasana music, wedding music. All this tradition was developed really closely with Jewish wedding rituals in Eastern Europe, and some other, bar rooms and dance halls that weren't related to weddings, but weddings were a huge part of this. And so we're going to do a tune from part of that ritual that you don't hear much in secular American families these days for weddings. But there were the wedding took so long, and there were lots of different parts where the musicians would play for the bride and for the groom. There was a part where they, famously needed to make the bride cry before the wedding. The part where the veil would be put on, the procession from the house of the bride to the house of the groom, or to where the chuppah was, the chuppah march, the mazel tov afterwards, the going to the caterers, paying the caterer. I don't know. There was music for everything. There was music for everything. But at that time, it was probably, paying the guy who drove the horse or something. Feeding the horse after the wedding, the music for that. I mean, there was music for everything. This is a chosen bazingens, a tune for singing to the groom on the day of the wedding, of the chuppah, and this comes from Badchen, someone who did these songs and kind of emceed the wedding with the Klezmer, the musicians, named Meyer Bogdansky. He was a teenager at the time of the Holocaust in Eastern Poland and was studying to be a Badchen and to do these weddings, and survived and ended up in London, and he was recorded as an elderly man singing. He loved Yiddish folk songs, but he also remembered all of his repertoire for these wedding rituals. So this is the tradition that his community did for the Chosen Bazingens, where the Badchen would address the groom, saying, "This is a very important day. This is a Yom Kippur day. This is a day that all of your prayers will be heard. The gates of heaven are open, and you better take it seriously. You better pray really hard, because this is what's going to determine your life, and you really have to take seriously this responsibility of honoring your wife, which is eine von die größte mitzvahs von unserer Torah, one of the biggest mitzvahs of our Torah." Shimonu Raboisai ve'eftechu pi az Badchen stell sich nieder vor Chosen, goiten sei Chipita, suchen a porverte, dar venim avade, gutoi suern. Oy zung die Chachomim, als Chosen nicht geglichen zu a Kaiser in sein Chipita. Weil heint diese Yom Kippur Tag verdient. Einstein die Teuren von alle Himmeln offen verdient. Kennst du dir ausbeten, als noch wo dir gefällt? Und wenn du öffnest dein Herz, waren Rabboni Scheule mit Tränen, Tachnirtonin, gedenkst Chosen,
als mir kaddisch seine Freu, ist eins von die heiligsten Geboten von unser Teure. Und eine von ihrer größten Mitzvah. Und als das liegt auf ihrer Räuferchor, sie zu achten und zu schätzen. Und bis Chus der wird der Allmächtige euch helfen. Wird ihr älteren eucheren Kopf mit Masel und mit Brüche. Und du so scheu mit dein richtigen Zivi zu der Kippe oh mein, wie oh mein.
Thank you so much.
I forgot in all my ethnographic notes there to mention that the tune we went into is a processional, wedding march composed by Jake. And then the final one was a hopka. And I'm not sure if that was a wedding dance or if it was for feeding the horse after the balagula led the in-laws home. It could be either one. I think it's a multi-purpose tune. Yeah. Let's go on to Black Sea.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we have two more for you, but the first one's long. Don't worry. This is another suite of music from the Black Sea. It's the way I think about a lot of this music, and really a sort of, in a way, as I see an overarching theme of Jewish culture in general, is an incredible patchwork of influences coming from all different places and times and people. And Jewish culture is really a diasporic culture, and it's made up of so many different contacts with different kinds of people over the history, over our long history of movement. And I think this suite kind of really speaks to that in a certain way. The first melody I learned from a Crimean Tatar violinist, Nariman Asimov, who lives in Queens. And when I actually don't know of any klezmer recordings of this tune, but when I heard it immediately, it just felt very obvious to me. It was like an old klezmer melody that. And the second one is from a great cymbalum player, Joseph Moskowitz, who was from Galați, Romania, a port city in the Black Sea, and he had a wine cellar on the Lower East Side of Manhattan in the early 20th century, and he used to play his cymbalum in the wine cellar, and he had a extremely wide, he was a virtuoso and had an extremely wide repertoire of Jewish pieces, Romanian pieces, Turkish and Greek, as really all klezmers did of the time. They weren't just playing Jewish music. And the third one is actually a very well-known piece that even made it into George Enescu's music, the great Romanian composer. And but I have a folder of about 20 or so different recordings of this piece from orchestras ranging from Egypt to Turkey to Romania, Crimea as well, Hungary, several different klezmer recordings from the early 20th century, both in Europe and New York. So it's really like this music sort of, to me, says there is no realness in ethnic purity. That is really an idea that's made up. Thank you so much. Well, it's been such a pleasure and honor playing for you. Thank you to everyone. There. Yeah.
We know it was a team
Thanks so
involved
much.
to get us here. We really
Yeah, there was
appreciate all
a
that.
massive team.
Yeah.
I know that I'm going to forget some names, but oh my God, help me out here, Jordan. Denise, Sybil,
Sybil.
Patricia, Eric.
Ms. Unger.
Yes, right. Oh my God, so many people.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we've been traveling around for 2 weeks and different places. Your brain gets a little fried. But yeah, thank you to everyone who worked and donated to make this happen. Really, really, really appreciate it. And it's a beautiful place you all live in.
Yeah.
Yes,
And the view is not bad.
Yeah,
From here. I really like it.
it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. So this is a we'll be outside with our CDs and LPs and books. Come talk to us. Let's schmooze a bit afterwards. And here's a song for Shavua Tov, a gute Woche.
Yeah, it's this moment ending Shabbos, which we've been playing this song a lot, but this is the first time we're actually playing it on a Saturday night. And it's also the end of our tour. This is our finale. This is the last date. We started in Boulder. So it's a beautiful traditional melody about marking that time when people have been gathered together in community and in peace. And it's kind of a magical and special space that's created. And then you have to go out into the real world from there and take what it is you learned, whatever that is. And it's a beautiful prayer for peace and safety for all humankind for another week.
Feel free to join us in singing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The nigun melody is quite easy. You'll pick it up.
A gute Woche, a gesunde Woche, oi wünschen mir für alle Jiden, für alle feine, gute Freund, welche seien mit uns da. As Gott soll geben für jeden einen, was bedarf noch sein Verlangen. Oi lechem lechol, oi begir lilboish, wie ein Kiddush lehavdolo. Gesund soll mir sein, trinken dem Wein bis in weißen Tag herein. Gesund soll mir sein, trinken wenn wir Wein bis in weißen Tag herein. A healthy week, a week of peace. May the earth provide for all her children, and each of us here now gathered round, and every family to which we are bound. May all be granted our common prayer for food and water, for sun and air, the stars above us, the sky above, a few more seasons with the ones we love. So raise up the glass, all of this will pass, all of this will soon be gone. Let each singing voice lift up and rejoice until we greet the light of dawn. Ay, 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 soll mir sein, trinken wenn wir Wein bis in weißen Tag herein. Gesund soll mir sein, trinken wenn wir Wein bis in weißen Tag herein.
Jordan Wax.
Thank you. It's Jake Shulman-Ment.
Thank you so much.